When we attributed those ARRA funds to various programs, were we clear in understanding that we might not be able to pick that up following biennium?
Well, we just assumed the FMAP going forward. We drew down those FMAP funds for all programs, all Medicaid-related programs. That, I think it was discussed a bit yesterday on the acute care side. We knew what the FMAP would be, and we didn't know exactly what the FMAP would be when the ARRA funds went away, but we had an idea it would certainly be 60% or under when the ARRA FMAP went away.
And before the ARRA funds became a reality in 2009, were we looking at having enough money to provide the services in your agency, or were we looking at having to pare things back?
I don't recall the exact debate early on last session, but the ARRA funds certainly played a part in allowing the department to continue the services.
Did they allow us to do more during this 2 years than what we would have otherwise? In other words, would we have had to scale back, just in a generality, would we have had to scale back services in these programs in your agency, or did we just fill the hole and say we got where we needed to be?
Well, the programs I just talked about were really our entitlement programs. Those would have been required to fund those. Now, during the last legislative session, there was a significant investment in the waiver programs that was historic. We invested quite a bit in the HCS program, class to some extent, but largely the HCS program. And so I think you could draw the conclusion that the funds available last session allowed you to increase those waiver programs by substantial amounts, yes.
Okay, Representative Schwartner?
Besides the increase in waiver programs, you said it is an entitlement program, which it is.
Yeah.
But the last biennium, we would have had to face provider cuts at that time had we not had the ARRA funds.
Yeah.
Correct?
I can't speak to that. I don't know what the decision the legislature might have made. That would have been certainly a hypothetical had those ARRA funds not been available.
Chair Colcourse?
Mr. Chairman, were the HCS programs increased by ARRA funds that are not replaced in, I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if that should be directed to the Commissioner? The ARRA funds that you were talking about, how we increased, there was a great increase in HCS programs. Were ARRA funds used to fund those programs?
Well, ARRA funds were used to fund all Medicaid-related programs.
Because of the increased FMAP, we took that money and plowed it back in. And,
right.
And I mean, Gordon was here, I was here, you were here, but a lot of things have happened since that time, so you may have forgot it. But my recollection of the decision-making and the discussions were, look, we got all these people on the waiting list, interest list, whatever you want to call it. We have this money. What do? If we don't want to ramp up programs because this ARRA money may go away, we're not anticipating this increased FMAP. So what can we do? And so part of the decision, as I recall it in discussions, was, well, let's get these people services. It may only be for 2 years, but it's better than nothing. Am I remembering that, or am I making that up, Gordon?
I believe that's for the most part correct, yes, sir.
So if we go back to last year's budget, some people call it the Red Book, page 2-131, section, and this is under special provisions relating to all health and human services agencies. And it's information on funding provided for one-time attendant wage and provider rate increases. Appropriations made elsewhere in this act for this biennium totaling $229 million in GR and $524 all funds include $129 million in GR and $300 million in all funds for a one-step and temporary attendant wage increase and $99 million GR 222 all funds for a one-step and temporary provider rate increase. The following biennium amounts are allocated to health and human services agencies listed below, and then it goes through the various appropriations. And so that's where the one-time rate increase comes from. That's what it says it was one time. I mean, But once people get it, they don't want to give it up, and they're not getting overpaid to begin with. But to be able to articulate it correctly, so let's take $10. So if somebody was making $10 back in 2009, with ARRA funds, we increased it to $12.70, and said for you get this $2.70 increase for 2 years.
Right.
So in this bill, it drops out that $2.70, goes back to $10 an hour, and then on top of that, there's a 10% rate cut, so it goes down to $9 an hour, and that's where we get, the math won't work out exactly, but that's where we get to 37%.
Yeah, you're right.